Let's bring in Galen Druk from ABC's 538 for more on this. Galen, Pennsylvania Republican Senate candidate Dr. Mehmet Oz, he held a rally in a suburb of Philadelphia, urging supporters to get out the vote. How crucial are suburban voters going to be to the results of this election?
I think it might be somewhat of a cliche at this point, but the suburbs are absolutely crucial. And the reason is because America is geographically polarized when it comes to politics. The cities and urban areas are very Democratic, and the rural areas are very Republican. And so the in-between space is in the suburbs. We've tracked down all of the House districts and looked at sort of where they are geographically and how competitive they are. And we've found that 70% of the districts that are at least somewhat competitive in the House this cycle are in the suburbs. And the question is, will they swing back to Republicans after swinging left in 2020 and 2018? You know, districts that had been voting for Republican representatives for 50 years swung in a backlash to Trump. The question this year is, will there be a backlash to Biden? And so far, our forecast shows that Republicans have an 83% chance of winning the House, so that seems likely.
Now, President Biden is also now trying to go after oil companies. He's calling for a tax on excess profits, blaming them, at least in part, for high gas prices. How much are gas prices going to impact what happens next week?
Looking historically, we see that gas prices do have an impact on presidential approval. That's not the only thing, but over time, we see a correlation. And Biden is not a popular president. His approval rating is at 42%. That's where Trump's approval rating was in 2018 when Democrats won a significant majority in the House in that election. And it's even worse than where Obama was when he sort of lost a bunch of House seats in the 2010 midterms. That's the bad news for Democrats. The good news for Democrats is that most of their candidates are running well ahead of Biden, which is to say, while Biden is unpopular, they have created sort of a distance with the president, and they themselves in, say, Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, Pennsylvania, are more popular than Biden. Will it be enough, though, to get those Senate candidates in those races across the line? It's not clear, because really, it's not just gas prices at this point. Everything is expensive and getting more expensive.
So between polling, campaign spending, early voting numbers, social media, what are you watching going into this home stretch, the final week?
You know, in the final week, there's so many different tea leaves that folks try to read to try to get an understanding of how things are going to turn out. I would caution people not to pay too much attention to the early vote data, because we can see, you know, how many Democrats voted in this state or how many Republicans voted in that state. But it's important to keep in mind that people don't necessarily vote the way that they're registered. You know, longtime Democrats might decide they're voting for a Republican this time, or vice versa. What I am looking at in the final stretch is enthusiasm numbers, because in a midterm election where historically only 50% or less than eligible, 50% or less of the eligible voter population actually shows up, who's turning out and who's most enthusiastic to turn out is super important. And right now, Republicans have the advantage there.
All right, Galen Druk, great to have you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.